Something about Boxing Day, because it's going to be very, very windy indeed. This area of low pressure, a small, very tight area of low pressure pushing eastwards, and we're watching that very, very closely indeed. Severe gales are possible in a fair number of areas, particularly so the west, southwest England, Wales, northwest England, and possibly also southern Scotland and Northern Ireland. So we'll keep you updated on that over the next day or so. We have a weather system though moving eastwards just now. This one's bringing a lot of rain across the country at the moment. That warm front really quite active. You can see on the radar here how this wall of rain has moved across Ireland, now across the Irish Sea, into these western parts of England and Wales, and also across many parts of Scotland. So the remaining brightness in the southeast not lasting very long at all. By the end of the afternoon, rain really just about everywhere. Now, it was a cold start, of course, in the east, and temperatures struggling, so even as the rain arrives, they're going to be held back to about 7, so it'll feel cold, but mild in the west. In Northern Ireland, temperatures as high as 10 Celsius, that's 50 Fahrenheit. Overnight tonight, bands of rain continue to push their way southwards. It may dry up a little bit across eastern Scotland, and that could just give us just a touch of frost in some sheltered parts. For Christmas Day, this weather system brings some more rain into many southwestern areas, so a wet end to the day across many parts of the country. Bye for now.
Christmas is going to have tonight. Mind you, it's just as well as not coming on Boxing Day, because on that particular day we're going to have a really vicious area of low pressure close by. It's going to move across to the north of Northern Ireland into central Scotland, and it does mean to say that we can expect some stormy weather across many parts of the country, more particularly I think in the west. But back to now, and it's fairly windy at the moment as a matter of fact, and we've got a couple of weather systems moving across. They've both been bringing some bands of rain, some pretty heavy rain too. Those areas of rain will continue to move through during the rest of the night, but it's going to be quite a slow process. At least it's never going to clear as far as the south of the country is concerned. They're staying cloudy all night with outbreaks of rain, that rain getting heavier again in the southwest towards morning. But in the north, the clouds will break, the rain will move away, leaving behind some showers though in that northwestern corner. Not a particularly cold night because it is going to remain fairly windy, but even so 3 or 4 degrees perhaps in some sheltered spots there. Another little weather system developing for tomorrow and then moving up from the southwest. Even at the beginning of the day in southern areas it's going to be cloudy with outbreaks of rain, that rain already beginning to get quite heavy in the west country. Further north, brighter with showers near to western coast. During the course of the day, though, that rain in the south is going to gather itself together, sweeping northwards across most parts of England and Wales, so eventually a wet spell just about everywhere, the wind picking up again too. But for Scotland and Northern Ireland, staying brighter with some sunshine and some blustery showers, and some of those showers could be wintry over the mountains, but I think that's just about the only place where you can expect a white Christmas. Quite windy, I think, just about everywhere too, but on the mild side, especially in the south, temperatures of 10 or 11 degrees. On Boxing Day, that's when the trouble really starts. We're going to get very windy weather indeed, and very wet weather sweeping across just about all parts of the country. Only the far north of Scotland, I think, staying somewhat brighter and drier with wintry showers and still outbreaks. In fact, no fewer than 3 of them. Mind you, it's going to be worse on Boxing Day, a real nasty area of low pressure zipping into the north of Northern Ireland across central Scotland, and that's going to bring some stormy weather, I think, to many parts of the country, more particularly the west and the northwest. Now back to the present, we've got some rain in northwestern areas and some drizzly bits and pieces in other areas as well. Most of the rain will clear during the night. It's going to hold on, I think, across the southern half there, and there'll be some showers coming in with clearing skies in that northwestern corner. But because it's going to be windy, it isn't going to be a particularly cold night anywhere. Another weather system to contend with tomorrow. We hold on to the rain in the south. It begins to get its act together again in the southwest early on in the day, and then this wet weather is going to be sweeping northwards across most parts of England and Wales. Some pretty wet weather and some windy weather too. Northern Ireland and Scotland staying brighter with some sunshine and blustery showers. In fact, the only white Christmas I think is for the sheep on the hills there, and not many showers getting through to eastern Scotland either. A windy day just about everywhere, but fairly mild in the south. Highest temperatures there around about 10 or 11 degrees. Then, as I said, the trouble begins on Boxing Day. Although we start off bright, wet and extremely windy weather coming up across most parts of the country. Some snow to begin with, again over some of those northernmost hills. And still rain around, I think, on Sunday, although there will be some bright weather as well between and ahead of that particular area of rain. It remains for me to wish you a very happy Christmas from everybody in the Weather Centre.
Good afternoon and a happy Christmas to you. The weather's certainly in a very boisterous Christmas mood, producing wet weather today. This weather system here producing heavy rain over southern areas, and this one giving some rather blustery showers across Scotland, which may just give some snow over the hills. But the main theme this afternoon is this area of heavy rain, which is going to give some further difficult driving conditions, possibly further flooding too over some parts of South Wales. That'll be moving away fairly quickly, and overnight many areas will be dry, just some showers in the northwest. Temperatures dropping back a little bit, but the only place with a real chance of frost is that eastern part of Scotland. But then it really is all change for tomorrow. This deep area of low pressure bringing us all a spell of wet and also very windy weather indeed. So we're watching that, and gusts certainly going to reach 70 miles an hour in many areas, possibly even 90 miles an hour across western Scotland and Northern Ireland later on tomorrow. So the main risk of those strong winds being in northern and western Scotland, in northwestern areas.
Sunshine with that rain band eventually around.
Sunshine in places.
Happy Christmas.
Afternoon to you. The breaking in the news this afternoon with some severe weather moving through Northern Ireland and also southern parts of Scotland and Northern England. Those winds are likely to reach 90 miles an hour, probably the next few hours across Northern Ireland, and then later on this afternoon, but particularly this evening and the first part of the night across the southern half of Scotland and northernmost parts of England. The culprit of this great area of cloud here is a low pressure centre right underneath that, and it's marching steadily eastwards across into northern Scotland through the afternoon. In northwestern areas of England. The rain certainly has been a problem. It's been gathering through the morning over Ireland, then marching eastwards through Wales, and it's now across the central part of the country. So that's how we start the afternoon, with heavy rain just about everywhere. And yes, indeed, we have some snowfall, mostly across the Grampian areas, and here we could have blizzard conditions with the strong to gale force southerly winds. Through the afternoon, the winds across the wet areas here are going to be about 50 or 60 miles an hour, but as we go through to the latter part of the afternoon and the evening, that's when the real strength starts across Northern Ireland, and those westerly winds powering their way eastwards. And 80 and 90 miles an hour are likely in this great swathe of the country here. Further south, strong enough if you like, about 60 to 70 miles an hour in the east, 70 to 80 in the southwest. So the risk of disruption is most likely in
sunshine.
Sunshine in
likely in this great swathe of the country here. Further south, strong enough if you like, about 60 to 70 miles an hour in the east, 70 to 80 in the southwest. So the risk of disruption is most likely in
sunshine.
Sunshine in
most likely in this red area here across that northern part of the British Isles. Now, if you are venturing out, well, temperatures not too bad if you like in the south, 10 degrees, but certainly a cold day in Scotland, no higher than about 4 or 5. And perhaps the most major sporting event in the south, well, very wet and very windy right through the afternoon at Kempton Park. Through tonight, many southern areas will become dry quite quickly, so a reasonably fine night here, and indeed the winds are going to die down quite quickly. But an area of rain will continue to affect many parts of Scotland, although even here, I think, in southern Scotland, Northern Ireland, those winds dying down reasonably quickly. The gales probably not lasting much after midnight. A cold night, though, in many areas, temperatures down to 2 or 3 degrees as those skies begin to clear. Now things are going to be wet again in the south, and not out of the wood at all, because another area of low pressure will bring further heavy bursts of rain across most southern parts, spreading its way northwards, and as it reaches the high ground of southern Scotland, once again we could see some snowfall. But for central and northern parts of Scotland, really a much quieter day than we're seeing this afternoon. Temperatures, well, really get quite low in northern areas, but perhaps as high as 8 or 9 in some parts of the south. That's it. Good afternoon.
Boxing Day storm really has proved very nasty indeed. We've been following it all day, and it's brought a lot of rain, some local flooding in the southwest today, and exceptionally strong winds, and still those winds very strong.
Sunshine.
Sunshine in damage, power cuts, all sorts of things. Gusts to 110 miles an hour on the north coast there at Malin Head, and now picking up more noticeably across the higher parts of North Wales, also across the Isle of Man and in towards southwest Scotland. Now, we still have those warnings out, of course, right through until the early hours of Sunday morning. That's for damaging winds, some really awful conditions on the roads. That's particularly for Northern Ireland, southern Scotland, northern England and Wales, and still isolated gusts to 100 miles an hour. The real squeeze of wind.
Sunshine.
Sunshine in places. Quite mild out, you'll notice that today, with a gusty southerly around about 10 degrees, sums it up, 50 Fahrenheit. And then through this evening and tonight, well, more rain pushing into the west, but in the north, possibly a frost. Bye-bye for now.
As the week progresses, we're likely to get some wet and windy weather. Now, we've got some wet weather today. You can see the bright colours on the radar, both in the east and in the west. But as far as wind's concerned,